Welcome to Amberger Smackdown. I'm Christoph Amberger. One of the perennial arguments of market bears against the stock market is that equities are too expensive. Grizzled heads bob, furrowed brows crease, and index fingers wag as prudent bears sermonize about historical price-to-earnings ratios and the fundamental concept of value. You'd assume that there indeed is a blue-ribbon mathematical indicator that could guarantee that a stock represents good value at a certain price, maybe even superior potential for capital appreciation, which, after all, is the sole reason you're looking to buy it in the first place. Unfortunately, the only value that value stocks typically confer on their owners is a feeling of being virtuous and modest, as the stock price rises too slowly to expose you to the deadly sin of greed. Modern man requires binding indicators and divine guidelines that can be packaged into nifty mathematical formulas to gauge the present and to predict the future, such as trading balance or savings rate of any given nation. Sadly, both are quite useless to determine the real strength of an economy or the wealth of a nation. The financial sector's Siamese twin, the health and fitness industry, has its own sets of not-so-absolute absolutes. My favorite one is the concept of ideal weight. Now, one would think this should be cut and dry. The Pythias, prophets, and assembled sages of modern science can model how high the water will rise unless you start riding grandma's old bike with a shopping basket to the supermarket. So surely they can give you a clear idea of what you should weigh. Back in the day, that calculation was simple. You took your height in centimeters and deducted 100. In my case, that would translate into 91 kilograms, exactly 200.62 pounds. Luckily, the information age has made things far more simple. You don't even have to do your own math anymore. The first thing Google spits up when you type ideal weight into its search engine is the website of one Stephen B. Halls, MD, who offers a little smorgasbord of ideal weight options. The medical recommendation for men my height and age is 156 to 205 pounds. But Dr. Hall features the Dr. B.J. Divine formula, vintage 1974, which suggests I should weigh 191 pounds. Looks like at 180 pounds I'd be in the clear. But wait, there's more. Dr. Robinson's 1984 modification of the formula lowballs me with 182 pounds. Call me Charles Atlas. My current weight thus is the equivalent of a dividend-paying stock with a P/E ratio of 2 and an upside of 50% per year. The Miller formula, however, suggests 174 pounds, while the exotic-sounding Hamwi formula ought to come in an equally exotic umbrella drink and generously allows 201 pounds. But Dr. Hall is just the first in a cast of thousands willing to peddle absolute ideal weight calculators. HealthStatus.com says it likes Dr. Hamwi, but advises that my ideal healthy weight is 184 pounds, not 201. In addition, they introduced the fine nuance of recommended weight range, which for me is a generous 163 to 204 pounds, which is like saying buy the stock between $5 and $50. HealthCentral.com is a little less liberal, indicating that my ideal weight range is 192 to 211.2 pounds by classifying my frame size as small. They know because my fingers overlap when I wrap my thumb and major fingers around my smallest part of my wrist. At 6'4", no one has ever called me small, but I understand they rely on the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company tables of 1983. And those guys ought to know. They sound downright stern as they bark at me, "You are underweight." Sporty-sounding Active.com and WalkingAbout.com can picture me with the one or other pork hog under my belt and suggest that my ideal weight is 202 pounds. Gynocentric iVillage.com, FitnessOnline.com, and the University of Michigan Health System, however, already consider me downright chubby, indicating I really should weigh between 162 to 176 pounds. And yes, I checked that I had the right calculation for human males, not greyhounds. Caremark.com and Self.com don't like being pinned down at all, with a recommendation between 152.4 and 205.1 pounds, with Self.com advising that their calculator is not for use by pregnant women. I made a mental note not to permit that should the situation ever arise again. After an hour of research, I finally had the answer I was looking for. My ideal weight, according to the best and brightest mathematical minds on the internet, is pegged somewhere between 152.4 pounds and 211.2 pounds, giving me a nice, comfortable margin worth 58 pounds to rest on. For a moment, I considered adapting this rather magnanimous approach to our video schedule. SmackDown could come out any time between Sunday morning and Saturday night. Of course, things could be worse. I'm only dealing with a difference of a couple of pounds here. I might have been researching the perma-bear spectrum of projected prices for gold. Try it. I recommend you do. The mathematical dimensions for their conservative value models are just out of this world. You'll never look at a PE ratio the same way again. For TaipanFinancialNews.com, I'm J. Christoph Amberger, wishing you a profitable week.